going to take a few more years, but we are getting there to bring this technology to the mass market, and that everybody will like, oh yeah, I can measure my brain. Sure. The main area where sleep is happening is in the brain. So the brain actually dictates your sleep quality. And it's, okay, how can you measure the effect of those interventions and personalize it to your own sleep pattern?
Welcome to the IDUN Technologies podcast. My name is Mark Mondakovich. I do application engineering and product management by IDUN Technologies, where we develop the Internet of Humans. Welcome, Séverine.
Hi, Mark. Thanks.
So Séverine is our co-founder and chief commercial officer at IDUN. And today, it's approximately 1 year since we released the Internet of Humans.
Is it?
How's the past year been for you?
Very interesting. I think we developed a lot as a company on the competence side. So 1 year ago, it was our first product, or first try at having this full stack product, this earbud that can measure brainwaves. And we released this. Been working on it with customers on different applications, and since then, or during this year, we also ramped up our whole company in the sense that we now have people exclusively working on the cloud infrastructure, on the machine learning, on the data side, on the neuroscience side of this product. So all in all, the concept, the vision, it's the same, but everything became much more tangible.
Very tangible from very virtual. I think looking back, it's been a wild journey, as you could say. Because we originally started, I feel like, this concept of connecting the brain to the internet, ergo, the Internet of Humans. The internet is connected, humans can be connected to it. Our emotional and cognitive needs can be understood by the connected world around us. This was like a very bold vision. I mean, that's easy to say. We're kind of on the cups of bringing what we know from neurotechnology and science fiction in some ways into product development, which is insanely challenging. Many other companies have been working on this as well over the past even decade. Where do you think we are in this journey, this vision of the Internet of Humans, and what does the next product from IDUN Technologies represent to you?
All very good questions. So I think also what happened during the last 2 years is that the market also grew on neurotechnology. So it started with a very few companies, and then we had also Neuralink, where neural interface became known to a larger public. So thanks for that, Elon. For sure helps when explaining what we're doing. And also a lot of other new companies are popping up. I would say it's not exponential yet, but we see, like this year, I think there are more companies working on a topic than they were last year. So it's really, it's getting tangible, and it's like we're not alone building proof points, but there are a bunch of companies, a bunch of research groups that are working hard on the topic and really bringing validation on, hey, what can you actually do with those neural signals, and how can it be integrated in products. So there are a few companies as well, like Meta, which are quite far along to integrate this into products. So I think it's it's getting tangible. It's like not there yet. I would say maybe in 5 years it's gonna be like known to everybody what is EEG. Like a lot of people kind of know, oh, there's this green light in my watch, and I can measure my pulse, I can measure my sleep quality with it. So I think it's going to take a few more years, but we are getting there to bring this technology to the mass market, and that everybody will like, oh yeah, I can measure my brain, sure.
I think that the tangibility you keep talking about is really interesting, because especially with wearable sensors, you look back over the past decade and it's still, I think in many ways, this concept of, oh, this does something on my wrist, it gets some feedback to me. But this is also what's super interesting, I think, with the next product. What is the tangibility for people? And I think it was always also a bit of a challenge, as you say, talking with customers, talking with companies where they know EEG is becoming a thing. This promise of being able to measure our brains is like very, very intense for many people. I think about it like this is my personal feelings. This is who I am as a person, my consciousness. But then what do we do with it? Because it's still very, in many ways, abstract. Like you read neuroscience papers, you go to different conferences, and there's lots of these visions. But then the question is, okay, what does it really do for people right now? What's the real value? What's the real positive impact we can have on society? And I think that's where we've been coming to a very nice focus in sleep quality, and being able to measure, capture sleep. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, so on the commercial side, where I'm mostly active at IDUN, the main challenge, as you say, is, or the main question that everybody had was, oh, really nice, but what can you do about it? And theoretically, you can do like a lot of things with measuring brains, but it's really also with this form factor that we have, being brain monitoring integrated into earbuds, what can you actually really do with those signals? So that was like the big thing that we had to find out, like the answer was not out there yet, so we had to do it, or to find this out ourselves. And at the moment, what we know we can do about it, but potentially there are more applications, but what we had put effort into finding out how well we can do is measuring sleep, the sleep quality and the sleep stages. So maybe for the people listening in, there are sleep trackers nowadays, mainly measuring, or the ones that are mainly known are smartwatches, or there are apps on your phones. Some might also have sensors on the mattresses. And those are all metrics that are giving an approximation of your sleep quality. But the main area where sleep is happening is in the brain. So the brain actually dictates your sleep quality. So if you want to have something very accurate, or if you need diagnosis because you have a sleep problem, you will have to go into a clinic and have your brain measured. That's not something else that you measure. You really need your brain metrics. And it's quite cumbersome, and there is no real long-term EEG data yet, except maybe from one or two companies who are going more mobile with the whole brain monitoring for sleep, but it's a very short-term metric. So what we can do with in-ear EEG, or with our next product, so we designed this product really to be that we could be able to sleep with it, so the whole design perspective, comfort perspective is optimized for sleep. And it's to measure your brain during the night in a much more comfortable way that you would do in the clinics nowadays, and get valuable data and exact data about what we call the microstructures of sleep patterns. So your brain wiggles in weird ways when you're asleep. And you have different sleep phases, and during those different sleep phases you will have very specific brain patterns. And this is the way that you identify the sleep stages, and this can give you a really good objective metric about how healthy is your sleep. Do you have sleep problems? If you have sleep problems, what exactly is the problem? And the sleep quality. And that's, I would say that it's one of the first steps, is getting those metrics out And then if you think about a broader sleep optimization product, and this is where we collaborate with other companies, it's like, okay, you can measure my sleep, but how do I sleep better? Is kind of the next question that we will be answering. And there are a lot of different innovations and interventions that are being applied for improving your sleep. So from pharmaceuticals to light therapy to audio therapy, like modulating your sleep patterns with audio inputs, to smell. Like there are a lot of things that are happening, or supplements.
Yeah.
And it's okay, how can you measure the effect of those interventions and personalize it to your own sleep pattern?
Yeah, I mean, that's also what I'm really excited about over the next year, is that we can close, as we say, this neurofeedback loop. So going from just measuring, just tracking, to really having interventions. Because, I mean, even if we understand sleep quality, even if I understand, I slept good this night, I don't know how I'm going to sleep the next night. And I still don't even have the mental time capacity to really think about, because I drank 3 cups of coffee yesterday, but I didn't exercise. What effect is that going to have? Should I expect I'm going to have a horrible night, and therefore maybe I shouldn't plan an early meeting the day afterwards? Being able to bring all this together in one product experience, automatize it really in a way where the system, the world, my connected identity can be changing or responding to the way I really am performing as a person. Something I'm really interested in exploring over the next year with our product.
Yeah, for sure. I think personally as well, sleep is a very, very, very interesting physiological pattern to measure. Everybody sleeps, and it's part of it can be healing, and it can be destroying your health. So it's a topic that is becoming more and more important. So we also see in the market, the whole sleep tech industry is becoming very big. So I think for me personally, sleep is a really interesting topic. And we have a few other possibilities opening up by measuring the brain with this device. Sleep for sure is one of the super interesting topics. Yeah.
So from last year, it went from basically the concept, the idea of where we wanted to go, to actually releasing products. Now we're in the next phase of having a more robust system, which is a combination of not just a physical product, but also the digital product, the cloud infrastructure, the ability to extract biomarkers or neuromarkers from the data that people are collecting every day. Do you have any specific expectations or dreams for what you will say a year from now on the podcast?
So I think the vision is still the same, and the product is also evolved in a sense that it's user friendly and it works. I don't know, maybe we want to cut that out. No, but it's so from a year ago, I would say that the vision is still the same. So the overall vision is really to have a platform where other companies and other research groups can think of their own markers that they want to explore, and use our hardware in our software platform to access those data, to analyze them, to create algorithm on top of it. So it's really this platform, the neurointelligence platform is still the same vision. Nowadays on the product side, what really happened is that we have now a team that is dedicated to making this a usable solution for other companies. So it's much more tangible. We still have a long way to go on the software side, but it's clearer, and the first step for MVP on the software side are there and are functioning. So yeah, I'm quite excited about it. And also this year, we'll have a few companies testing it for us. So I'm also looking forward to the feedback on how easy was it to use, how easy was it to integrate the data stream into their algorithm environment. So yeah, all those things that really makes the product on the software side usable.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're all excited and nervous about the feedback.
Yeah, for sure. And I think also, I mean, thinking back 1 year ago, if I think back 2 years ago when I first joined the company, we were talking to some large like consumer electronics companies, and it was very challenging to even communicate, this is EEG, we're measuring brain waves, we can integrate it into hearables, into earbud platforms. And the question was always, that sounds amazing, we don't know what that means for our product development or how to actually integrate that into our product and supply chains. And I think also these conversations are changing quite a bit over the past year, half year.
Yeah, I think the topic generally arrived on every consumer electronics company's desk. Like this, if like maybe not everyone in those companies for sure, but like if you're in the innovation track or the research track, every consumer electronic companies has or is looking at the topic. Either they're looking at it or they're working on it very actively. But yeah, it's a topic for sure. Same thing that they probably did 15 years ago with the PPG sensor, the optical sensor.
Or also augmented reality.
Or also augmented reality.
It was like really cool, but we didn't really know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And then now all of a sudden it's integrated in like every operating system.
Exactly. So so the conversation becomes more easy, but also like we've been in touch with them for long periods of time. So it's not like we're having first conversations that much anymore with larger consumer electronics groups. So they kind of know the technology, what we do. So yeah. Yeah.
It's the question always, like especially of deep tech startups, like the right time in history, the technology at the right place, and
that's a tough.
And then you change the world.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really influence timing. I remember an investor saying it's always better from an investor's side to be a bit too late than often too early.
Yeah.
I think we're for sure not too late. Maybe a slightly bit too early. But on the other hand, it's such a complex technology that I think we will be ready when the market is ready.
Yeah.
But it's not yet there.
Yeah, but I mean, I really think that if we can solve the first problem, sleep quality, like you show the value of neurotechnology integrated into consumer type devices, and then this allows like clear pathways to EEG or neurotech for the masses.
Yeah, and I think this whole platform vision is very ambitious and a nice one to have, but it's not the first step for us. Like the first steps, and this is valid for almost all the neurotechnology companies that I can think of right now, they usually have a very specific use case that they can showcase, because the technology is just too, otherwise you can't grasp it, like people can't grasp it and understand it. So the platform will happen in the future, like as a real scalable product, but it's not the first step for us to move forward with this technology. It's like I'm just thinking about the people who were working with the first PPG sensors. They must have had like similar situations. They would come to a company and say, hey, look, you can measure your heart rate with a small light. And people would say like, yeah, wow. What the hell do I do with this? Like, nice, okay, cool. But nobody knew what, and so probably, and for sure, they had to also prove a use case with it. Okay, like for example, I don't know what would have been the first use case of PPG sensors though. In smartwatches, I mean like blood oxygenation, that's just a PPG. Yeah, I don't know what they would have pitched, but they would for sure have had to put a lot of efforts into showing that it's correlated with parasympathetic and sympathetic systems, like stuff like this. So measuring the stress. So I think it probably was very similar to what we are going through on the customer journey.
And now it's integrated in
Everywhere.
I actually lost mine in Edinburgh in the check-in line.
How did that happen? Did you put it off and forgot to put it on again?
Yeah, it got lost in the check-in line, and it went around the conveyor belt probably when I was going through security. And I've been waiting for the new release of the Fitbit to get a new one to replace it, which is actually happening this fall.
All right, nice.
So fall, a great time for new products, great time for reflection, thinking about going into the future. And it's been really amazing to be on that journey with you the past couple of years. I'm really looking forward to 2023.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Séverine. Thank you all out there in the digital metaverse or wherever you're joining us from. We will be back soon. Please follow us on IDUN Technologies on Twitter or LinkedIn. You can see all our product developments, updates, the future of the Internet of Humans, ear, EEG, brain-computer interfaces. And till then, tschüss, bis später, ciao. Thank you. Bye.